Imagine how crazy your life's got to be when you say the line, "I've only got about 7 pictures" with Michael Jackson. How would you introduce yourself to somebody who didn't know a thing about you?
Probably very difficulty, I think. I've done so many different things over the last 20 odd years. It's difficult for me to kind of say I'm one thing, but I think the biggest thing what probably people know me for, and one of the biggest chunks of my life is obviously being a bodyguard.
Yeah.
To quite a number of famous people.
Yeah, do you want to list off some of the people that you've worked for? Because they are quite some names.
First one, you might have heard of him, Michael Jackson.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
2006. I was actually working in Afghanistan at the time, and I'd just come back on 4 weeks leave, and someone called me, and I did 7 or 10 days with Michael Jackson. When he's here, you come over here to go to the World Music Awards. He got a Guinness Book of Records award as well. 27 years old then. That was your age.
How old you were at the time? 27.
So 2006.
And so when you say you're working for Michael Jackson or with Michael Jackson for that long, are you with him pretty much the whole time?
For the visit, yeah. I mean, there was 5 of us all together for that job. So,
right.
And yeah, any time he left the hotel or left his room, we was with him. Yeah.
That must have been a weird time in your life.
It was a hectic time. His fan base is bigger than anyone you'll probably ever see again in our life. So.
Yeah, him and Morgs are on a similar par.
Had you experienced anything like that before? Obviously, Michael Jackson's another level, but you'd been abroad doing everything you'd been doing, and then you're suddenly thrown into a celebrity.
That was actually my first job in the UK.
after dressing as a bear.
Yeah.
How times have changed.
That's mad. So you're in Iraq and you just get a call, someone going up.
I was in Afghanistan.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
So I got bored of Iraq, went to Afghanistan for nearly 2 years, and on the second year.
Did you say you got bored?
In Iraq, yeah.
I don't know why that part. That's so bad. Yeah, I'm just bored. I might fuck off to Afghanistan. It's not like you're taking a 2 week holiday in Lanzarote because you're bored. You've gone to Afghan.
Go for anywhere too long. It's nice if there's other options. You can go somewhere.
You make it sound like you're on an all-inclusive.
Well, it was all-inclusive.
It'd still be in Iraq if he had a games console.
Yeah.
So you go over to Afghan.
But I was on leave. I used to work 8 weeks on, 4 weeks off, and on my 4 weeks off, I'd only been home a few days, and someone called me and said, would I do it? I didn't know who it was, to be fair. The job was in London. They just said, can you look after someone for a week?
Oh, they didn't tell you?
No, I didn't tell
I thought you meant I didn't know who Michael Jackson was.
No, I didn't have to Google it.
So it's big top secret on the phone, was it?
Yeah, because no one knew he was really coming. He hadn't been here for a number of years before that, so I wanted to try and keep it quiet.
Right.
And I just thought, you know what, do I really want to work on my 4 weeks off? And then I also knew that I was going to have to work in London at some stage. I was going to come back and work here. So I thought, you know what, it might be a good idea just to go and have a go and see what it's all about.
Yeah.
It turns out it's Michael Jackson.
That's mad. So you drive down. When's the first time you realise it's him? Is it a text?
I was in Edinburgh at the time with a mate of mine. We was going out, and I had to get a flight back down to Heathrow. I missed my flight because we went out the night before, and I managed to pick up a BA flight, and I had to buy a suit when I got to London, because at the time I lived down in Eastbourne on the South Coast, so I didn't have time to go down there, get the suit, come back.
Was you buy one en route?
So I just bought one as soon as I got to London, and then went straight across to Heathrow, where I can't remember where it was now, but there's a hotel somewhere just outside Heathrow where we had to meet for a briefing. Had a shave in the bathroom.
you know, like these teen films where like the boy's late for school and he runs out and he's like putting his like blazer on as he flags down the bus.
It's a bit like that.
It's a bit like that, but instead of just being late for college, you're just running to be bodyguard to Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Which is mad. So you're in the briefing room, and I imagine he's not the one briefing you.
No, he wasn't here at that stage.
As he comes in, right, fellas. so someone comes in, and is that when they first tell you who it is?
Do you know what? I really can't remember. I've got a feeling I might have known a little bit before that.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot before that. It was that same day.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling, or we was told then. I can't remember. I really can't remember, if I'm honest.
Well, you're quite a composed guy. You've obviously been in the army and whatnot, had bullets flying at you, so I imagine you don't flap too easily. Was that a moment when do you get a bit nervous?
You know what? I totally didn't appreciate that job one little bit at the time.
Did you not?
No, it's not until, because it's just another job. I was on leave, half was happy to do it, half didn't want to be there. And I just did it. And it's like, oh, it's Michael Jackson. Oh, that's quite cool. And we just did the job. And it wasn't until like many years later, that anyone I ever spoke to about that, it's like turned into a big deal, you know. And obviously, when he passed away as well, you know, it's probably turned into even more of a bigger deal because no one can do it now.
Yeah.
I thought, do you know what? Actually, that was quite an achievement, if you like.
For sure.
It was a good job to do, but at the time, I didn't think anything of it. I was doing that. I think I had 5 days off after I went back to Afghanistan.
Fucking hell! Well, what was he like? Did you get much time to actually speak to him, or is it very?
Not like, I mean, normally when I work with people, I work on my own for starters. So obviously, then you get time to interact with people more. He had a lot of people around him all the time. So yeah, we did. We got to speak to him now and then. But
can you remember any conversation you had with him?
No, not even in the slightest. I really can't. I can't remember. I probably can't even remember all the places we went, to be honest.
Yeah.
Did there actually end up being anything dangerous about that job? Or was it fairly simple for a few days?
Management. It was like, you know, 10, 15 taxis following us around everywhere all the time, but fans had paid to keep for the whole time he was there, and they could just jump in and follow us in the car. So literally, we was just mauled everywhere we went. It was a nightmare of a job, really, looking back, but you know, it was a good one to be on.
Fucking what? They're in the cars all day, following them around.
It was probably about a lot of hotels wouldn't take them in the end because the fans. There used to be so many fans that they kind of trashed the hotels, not on purpose, but it's just that many people there. You know, I think there was 200 or 300 people outside, just standing outside the front of the hotel all the time. There's always be a police presence because of the amount of people they put barriers up, but it was just a bit of a mess, really.
I had a little scroll through of your Instagram last night, and you've got quite a few pictures of Michael Jackson in the foreground and you in the background, obviously being his bodyguard. Is that, even though you're not starstruck by that kind of things, is that surreal to look back on after these so many years? And so, for example, just to bring it back to what we do, we'll have like a big guest on and like Gervais, and in the moment we take it in, but then a few years later I'll look back and go, wow, that was a cool moment. Is it something that really strikes you in hindsight?
Yeah, a little bit. I think that's why, you know, like I was just saying, the older I get, the more I kind of appreciate what the job was. And I do, when I look at those pictures sometimes, I think that job really did happen. And certainly with Jackson, around the time that I was with him, there wasn't Instagram, there wasn't Facebook, I don't think. It was very new. You know, I think the only coverage we really got was people like Getty Images and people like that, your normal stock images, but it was in the Sun newspaper in the morning, and MTV covered a lot of it. I think, you know, there's a snippet on BBC News or whatever, but in terms of all your Daily Mail online and everything else where it's all stuff gets flashed within an instant, and all over Instagram and all these other, you know, media outlets online, there wasn't any of that then. So the pictures I've got, I think I've only got about 7 pictures, and I had to really dig for them.
Yeah,
it's just the content's not there.
Imagine how crazy your life's got to be when you say the line, "I've only got about 7 pictures" with Michael Jackson.
That's what I mean by not appreciating it.
Yeah. Have you ever used those images? I know you've got a partner now, but have you ever used them images to chat someone up at a bar?
Probably scare them, wouldn't it?
I mean, if I worked with Michael Jackson, I'd be using that all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, do you know what?
You get a lot of views on Michael Jackson though, so it won't always go down well.
But he was still massive back in the day, and I imagine if I had a picture of me and him, I'd be going up to people going, "Look, Billie Jean was not his lover, but you can be mine." Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
It's funny because at the end of that Jackson job, I remember you just said that. It's reminded me. I stayed up in London a night because a couple of mates I was in the army with lived in London, and they knew I was up on the job because they see me on BBC News or whatever. And they said stay on a night, and we go out for a drink. Anyway, we went out Leicester Square or something, I think, back then, and I was talking to someone in there, and they said, "What are you doing in London? And if you live down in Eastbourne?" I said, "Oh, I've just finished looking after Michael Jackson." Because I thought nothing of it.
Yeah.
And they turned around and went, "Bullshit," and walked off. And I thought about it. I suppose that is a bit like,
you can't just say that.
Yeah. Would you ever just refer to him as Mike?
Mike. Mike. Could do better than that, can't you?
Yeah, MJ was the obvious one to go for.
Big Mike, MJ.